Season 1, episode 3 of this crap was on national television, and I haven't scared away my co-host Chris Bournea. I'm amazed because I gave you a big turd to look at again.
Yeah. This was a journey into 70s cheese for sure.
Yeah, it's technically I want to say our third one of the 70s, because I know we did Pink Lady last time, but that was really a 70s show.
Yeah, it was filmed in 79, right?
Yeah. But this one, we're going all the way back to October 28th, 1978, and on NBC, on a Saturday night, Kiss meets the Phantom of the Park. And take Kiss, one of the biggest bands of the world at this time, not just the United States, but just in the entire world. They were massive. And then you pitch them this idea. Hey, it's going to be Star Wars meets, what was it? Star Wars meets Hard Day's Night.
Yeah.
What could go wrong? Except everything.
Right.
Oh, so behind the scenes, though, Kiss was actually in the process of imploding. They were never as big as they were at this point, but the year before, to try to soothe tensions within the group, each one of them recorded a solo album. Instead of sort of giving them a bit of a break from each other, it just made things a lot worse. Everyone's ego was out of control except for Ace, from what I've read. And you've got two factions. You've got Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons, and you've got Ace and Peter, who just want to have fun, go out. Peter's ego was also out of control because he had the biggest Kiss song at that time was Beth, and that was him as the lead singer. Ace just wanted to party. Gene wanted to be serious. I mean, for a guy who wanted to talk about partying all night and rock and roll every day, he did rock and roll. He did party somewhat, but he's kind of a straight-laced guy, except for the women part.
Yeah, he's talked about being a teetotaler and bragging about the fact that he's never had a drink or smoked cigarettes or lived the drugs part of the sex, drugs, and rock and roll.
But is also claimed to have been with 10,000 women, which might be true. I don't know. Yeah. So saint on one side, sinner on the other. Whatever. We're not here to moralize. We're here to look at what they put together and what they were pitched and what happened. Oof. It actually starts off not that bad, because it's basically Kiss doing what Kiss does very, very well. You've been to a Kiss concert. I've been to a couple. Actually, before we get into that, so you said when I pitched this to you, you said you saw them on one of their many reunion or farewell tours. Which one was that?
Yeah, I want to say it was like early 2000s. I actually saw them in Pittsburgh. It was 2001, that so-called farewell or reunion tour. I forget which one. Like I said, there's been so many.
Well, they're still doing it, I think. I'm not even
Are
sure.
they really? I heard a Rolling Stone podcast with Paul Stanley where he was actually talking about aging. He was like, your joints can't take the same wear and tear, doing a 2-hour show every night or every other night that you could when you were in your 20s and 30s. So he made it sound like they were wrapping it up. But of course, how many times has he and Gene Simmons said that?
Paul and Gene won't turn down the money. We know that about these two. I'll give Paul credit on quite a few things, actually. Because Kiss for me is one of those bands. I consider myself a music snob, and then so how does a music snob love Kiss? Well, because I appreciate Kiss for what they are. I don't listen to Kiss thinking I'm listening to Mick Jagger and Keith Richards put something together. I'm listening to a party rock band that knows what they are, and they do it very well, and they have a gimmick, and it's a good one.
Yeah.
I can listen to that and listen to Sleater Kenny at the same time. That's okay. You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
but
And I can listen to Kiss and I can listen to Prince. Although Prince did have those elements of glam rock with the makeup and the costumes and
Prince is a
the
god to me. He can do no wrong. When anyone
yeah.
says Michael Jackson was the best, I say, yeah, but what was Michael Jackson without Quincy Jones? Prince was Prince without anybody.
Yeah, Stevie Wonder said that. Stevie Wonder said
Really?
Prince, Stevie Wonder said if Michael Jackson was the king of pop, Prince was the emperor because he could go in a studio all by himself and come out with a finished product.
Yeah. Actually, Paul said on an interview once that actually was on Joe Rogan that really summed up a lot. And I'm glad that he didn't go that route. During the early 90s grunge phase,
Yeah,
Gene said he wanted to make more of a darker sound and then sing about depression and other stuff like that. And Paul said to him, what are we going to sing that's so bad in our lives that our mage didn't show up one day? Or something to that effect. It's like,
yeah,
I'm rich, I'm loaded, I have a hot wife. My life's pretty good. I'm not going to fake something.
yeah,
And I respect the hell out of him for that, for not being a poser, as we used to call
yeah,
people
yeah, exactly.
who do things.
Yeah,
But the movie, going back to that, it starts fine enough. It's rock and roll night, and just you see basically them, I guess, in front of a blue screen playing music, but it's their signature song. I know I said Beth was their biggest hit, but Rock and Roll All Night is their signature.
right.
So starts off fine, even though it's a little cheesy. You see them sort of they're in bumper cars. Peter's got his drum, but
Yeah, yeah. That was very cheesy.
but fine. I was trying to put myself in the mindset of a Kiss fan in 1978. I was 6, so I wasn't even aware this existed. I don't think I even
I wasn't either. Yeah, I was
yeah,
6 as well.
I don't think I even heard of it until like the dawn of the internet. And I think right after I went to the Kiss reunion shows, because I went to in '96. So
Okay.
then I learned about this movie, and then I think I wound up buying it on eBay, and I never did transfer it to disc, and now no one has discs anymore.
Yeah.
But so I did watch it then. I had my wife watch it once early when I had that on VHS, which she is called the worst movie of all time.
Really.
Yeah.
That's a high bar or low bar, depending on how you look at it.
Yes, she's referred to it as just the biggest hunk of crap I've ever made her watch. And she watched it from beginning to end. And then I forced myself to watch this from beginning to end. I forgot how bad this was. This time I did do it in one sitting though. So we start off with B-roll. It's really B-roll footage of the park. This was what was it? Something
Magic Mountain.
Magic
Yeah.
Mountain. I was gonna say Magic Kingdom. I'm like, that's not right. But Magic
Yeah.
Mountain in California.
California. Yeah.
Yeah. And we learn from the loudspeaker, Kiss is going to perform, and we see a scene with security who's worried about a riot. Did you notice that one of the security guards was Brian James, who
No, I didn't.
okay, so the one with the mustache, who we can debate afterwards who was the worst actor of this, and he might be one of them because he just
Yeah.
came off like such a dope. But 2 years later, he was in Blade Runner
Wow.
as Leon, so like a pretty decent like a size role. So
Okay.
one of the replicants looking to extend his life. So then he was in 48 Hours and another 48 Hours where his character was the villain, and he was also in Fifth Element. So this guy actually did exceptionally well considering he stunk in this film. I mean, not that he was
Yeah.
nothing to work with, but with what he had, he still stunk.
Yeah. Given the inauspicious start.
Yeah, from what I can tell, this is more
Yeah.
or less his big start in this. And so then it kind of foreshadows what might happen. Then we meet a young couple, Melissa and Sam. We see them having fun. They're on a roller coaster. Sam, did you recognize him?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So that was played by a guy named Terry Luster. Terry became a major star in daytime soap operas a few years later. He was the original
okay.
Jack Abbott.
Interesting.
And he's since left us. I think he died of AIDS. I'm not sure. But So like back then when you couldn't be out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he was like when I was living in Canada, or like as a kid coming back from school, Young and the Restless was rerun at 4:30 on Global, which is one of our national television shows, or
Okay.
television channel. Sorry.
Networks.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So I actually watched Young and the Restless as a kid. That was one of the few shows my mom and I liked. So
Okay.
if she was working that day, I'd tell her what happened. And Jack Abbott was her favorite. So here's another guy you think from watching this guy in this performance that he would go on to have a pretty successful career in his own right. Who would have thought it? You would have thought her, Melissa. Melissa doesn't even have a Wikipedia entry.
Well, in all fairness, he was playing an android, well, for part of it at least. So he had to be kind of wooden and one note as an
Well, he
android.
wasn't a believable one.
Yeah.
So we meet this couple, and then all of a sudden, he says, like, I think I've got to go back. I'm a little worried. Like, what the hell? So we learn that he's an employee of the park. Oh, what, you're just hanging out with your girlfriend all day? Like, what the hell is this?
Right.
But that's like one of many plot holes. Then the worst part of this, we see the bullies.
Right.
I guess there were a biker gang of only 3 people named Chopper, Slime, and Dirty D.
A biker trio.
Biker trio.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, but we've got to establish that they're jerks, because they're gonna get it, not in the end, but in the early part.
Yeah.
They're pretty irrelevant to this whole plot, other than actually they're really irrelevant, period. I don't know.
They are irrelevant
here. Well, Abner builds the park. We meet Abner Devereaux, and he hates Kiss. Doesn't hate Kiss because of Kiss. He hates Kiss because the park is siphoning money to get them there. And it's all about his work. Abner Devereaux is played by someone who actually was somewhat of a star at that point, Anthony Zerbe. He actually won an Emmy the year before, or 2 years before, for a show.
Really?
A show I never heard of called Harry O. Never heard of it, but he was in quite a few movies. He's been working for a long time, still alive, I believe. And you can see that this guy can act, but now he's overacting.
Yeah.
Like, which we'll get into more later, but it just felt like he was trying to do Shakespeare with what was given to him. Like, did you get that feeling?
Yeah, kind of Pacinoing it up, like going to 11 when you should only go to 7 or 8. Yeah, really going over the top as the super villain.
Yeah, he sort of did what I like to call Viola Davising.
Okay.
I love Viola Davis. My wife and I, we don't have a lot of shows we watch together, but we binged the entire series of How to Get
Away with Murder.
Yeah. And so I said to her, like, I'm really enjoying this, but Viola is proving she's taking way too many scenes. Just say, look, I am a great actress. I'm the best in the world. And I'm going to prove it in a scene I don't need to.
Yeah.
She'll do it like, I think once every 3 episodes, like, okay, Viola, we get it. You're incredible. But did this scene really call for you to do this?
Yeah.
But whatever. I mean, I don't know that she's necessarily overacting or acting when she doesn't need to. I guess it is overacting. Anyway.
Well, I guess you sort of have to remind people that you are a film actress, because it used to be, those lines between film and TV used to be so, they weren't blurred at all. It was like, if you did TV, you were a TV actor. If you did film, you were so maybe she had to like, okay, guess what, people, I have an Oscar, or I don't know if she had the Oscar by that, when she was in the series, but I'm worthy of an Oscar.
She's worthy of anything she does.
Yeah.
Like I will. She's one of those people. I know I just felt like I slammed her. I guess I kind of did. But if Viola Davis is in it, I'm going to give it a chance.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah. Having said that, Sam is in Abner's office. Now, for whatever reason, and we don't know why he thinks there's something amiss. We never learn why he thinks it. he decides that he's going to look for trap doors or hidden walls.
Yeah. For what reason, we have no idea.
Yeah. Well, he found one, walked in, screamed, and he was never the same for at least another hour and a half. Jesus Christ. Melissa's all alone, and she. Oh, did you catch this part? So she's waiting for Sam, doesn't know what's going on. She's just having a nice product placement Coke, I think it was.
Okay.
And so their three guys are ogling him. And in the background, Kiss's song, Christine 16 is playing.
Oh, yes, I did recognize that.
if
I did recognize.
If I could go on a rant to any rock stars or future rock wannabes, never sing about a teen girl ever. It will never age well, especially if you're over 22.
Yeah. But that was back before. I mean, I think the rock star lifestyle was really glorified and glamorized at that point. So I don't think, underage groupie was just sort of something that was like, a nudge, nudge, wink, wink, boys will be boys. It wasn't looked at as the way it is now. It's like you're molesting an underage girl. It was, oh, you're being a wild rock star, and don't we envy you?
Well, also, I mean, a lot of people, like, I think some of my uncles got married in their teens.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, you're saying like under 18?
One, I'm pretty sure did.
Okay.
I don't know the legality. I guess it was legal, obviously. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know. They're still married.
And they're
today.
not Amish. So, they're not Amish, correct?
No, I do not come from an Amish background. I can assure you of that. But no, people got married. Didn't Elvis marry a teenager?
Yeah. I started to
Priscilla?
say Lisa Marie. That's his daughter.
Yeah.
Priscilla, I think she was underage when she met him, but I think they waited until she was 18.
Yeah,
I could be wrong about that.
I'm sure that's all they waited for.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, she may have even been 17 when they married, come to think of it.
I mean, we're not going in Jerry Lee Lewis territory, but
No, they weren't cousins or anything.
What do you say about that? Well, we move on. So Melissa, she's all worried. Abner's freaking out to his boss about how he's so close to completing his work, which I guess we kind of learned his work is real life animatronics. Whatever. And he's talking to Calvin, his boss. Calvin was played by, I forget his name, Carmine something or other, doesn't matter. But he was actually in The Godfather Part 2, as well as Otto Brothers.
Interesting.
So, he had a little bit of, I wouldn't say fame, but
gravitas, having been in The Godfather.
Yeah, apparently he was also in Godfather 3 in a different role.
Okay.
Abner sees the three thugs, we'll call them, three biker guys, and they're sort of tormenting an animatronic gorilla. And he says, well, I'll give you a free pass to the Chamber of Thrills. First thought is, don't you already have a pass? Like, what kind of park is this?
Right.
All right. Fine, whatever. It moves along. We see the Kiss lookalike contest, won by somebody who didn't look like any of the members, but that's okay. The thugs then sabotage the spider, I guess the spider ride or whatever you call it.
Yeah.
Abner comes in. Abner's a total wuss here for someone who's going to become the mad villain. He didn't even say, well, but there was three people who did this. They did that. They said, well, then he volunteers information. Well, maybe it was what I've been playing around with. Moron. I mean, you've installed security cameras all across the park. You can easily say, look, see, they came out of there. Look what they did.
Yeah.
Like, so this guy's an idiot, a complete idiot at this point in time. A mad idiot, mad scientist idiot? I don't know. Melissa finds Abner. And then meets some android. So Melissa finds Abner in Abner's, we'll call it the lair.
Yeah. Every villain has to have a lair.
Yes, so true. And at this point, then I remembered that this was done by Hanna-Barbera. And didn't this feel like a Scooby-Doo mystery?
Totally. And I thought I saw somewhere on Wikipedia that Scooby-Doo did a movie in 2015 that was like Kiss and
Yes, they
some
did.
Scooby-Doo.
I'm going to forward off something to you, and I don't know if you drink, but
Occasionally, I'm not Gene Simmons,
oh,
but I'm not Ace Frehley.
okay. So if you ever in that mid between, I'm going to send you to something where it's Kiss, Scooby-Doo on a giant guitar, and they're playing "I Was Made for Loving You"
Oh my God.
on a cartoon thing on a giant guitar, and I don't know really what's going on. I saw it once. I decided to have a bunch of rum because you can do that down here a lot, cheap.
Yeah.
Watching it that way is a little bit more, I don't want to say enlightening because it's not, but it's more interesting.
Palatable.
Yeah, well, palatable, drug inducing if people are into that. uh it was kind of a mushroom thing. I was going to talk about that after. So because again, as we know, Paul and Gene will never miss a chance for a buck.
Yes. Yeah.
So moving the plot along, Melissa learns from Abner. Look at these animatronics. Don't they feel real? And then she's asking about Sam because Sam worked for Abner. Well, Sam didn't tell her much about all the concerns he had about him. Obviously, Sam had a roving eye, as Terry Lester definitely had a roving eye, but not for that. But anyway,
Yeah.
we learn they got engaged, and then we later see Sam, who's in a catatonic state. Gang goes into the chamber of thrills, pops a balloon of the only other of the little kid who's in there, leaving them all alone. And yes, slime goes through a sarcophagus. I don't know what it was. Goes through a tube slide. They all sort of wind up through that. We never see them again. I assume they're dead. I don't know.
Yeah, it's sort of like a more sinister version of Willy Wonka, like when Augustus Gloop got sucked up through the chocolate river.
Whatever
At least
happened
we
to
saw him
Augustus?
at the end, but these guys, yeah,
Oh,
they never made it out.
I don't remember that. Did we see Augustus Gloop at the end of that?
Yeah, I thought all the kids got sort of dried out or whatever, or straightened out and sent home. Remember they had to roll Violet Beauregard after she turned into the big huge grape or whatever. They had to roll her out, and
Yeah,
Willy Wonka told his Oompa Loompas to go squeeze the juice out of her.
That's another creepy film, creepy book.
Yeah, especially the tunnel scene. Yeah,
I gotta watch that again. I haven't seen that in years. I tried to watch the Johnny Depp one. I gave up halfway through.
I can't stand the Johnny Depp one. It's horrible to me.
Well, Calvin fires Abner. Or have you ever been in a situation where you've seen people fired? Have you ever had to fire anybody?
I've not seen the like actual act of firing, but I've seen the like, the perp walk out with with the box full of their belongings.
Right. Well, yeah. Calvin forgot to do that part. He fired him basically for what happened, with that spite. Yeah, I know I'm saying this wrong, but that.
Yeah, spider roller coaster thing,
yeah,
whatever it was. Yeah.
Fired him for that. He says, well, you've been sort of slipping a lot lately, and then just, okay, you're fired. That's it. But he never actually made him exit the building. That was a mistake because I'm pretty sure in the 70s, if you were fired, you were still shown the door immediately.
Yes. Yeah, maybe he did have a trap door that he could slide down once he was shown the way out.
Maybe. Maybe. And Calvin, who's probably the worst park manager ever, just decides, well, okay, everything's fine. So because we learn the next scene is Abner back in the lair. Guess, and my notes here, guess security didn't tell him to leave, and he's freaking out. He's going to destroy you, and he's blaming everything on Kiss, not himself, not the guy who fired him.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. This took 30 minutes before we actually got Kiss back. These were the longest 30 minutes for any Kiss fan. It has to be.
Right.
Laying down all these things for a plot that really is irrelevant for the most part.
A very paper thin plot.
It's so thin. Callista Flockhart is I won't. I don't have a finish for that joke.
Yeah. Yeah. We get the
Uh,
point.
so I had, when I went to go see him play, I was robbed. I wish I would have saw them in an amphitheater or an outdoor venue so that they could have supernaturally came from the sky.
Exactly. I did see them in an amphitheater. I guess I missed
You missed that.
the
Okay.
intro from the heavens.
Oh, yeah. They didn't do that from the rafters at the Air Canada Center or from Cops Coliseum in Hamilton. When I saw them the second time, didn't happen. Actually, I'm pretty sure Ace was drunk that second time because he fell over twice.
Oh wow.
And each time he was
That was 90 the 90s, 96 when you saw them?
yeah, well, it's 96 the first, 96, 97 the second one when they came back.
Okay.
Another loop. And there's just Ace sitting down each time, just laughing his ass off. And Gene looking pissed. Like Gene always looks pissed.
Yeah, yeah.
Segue, if I could. My wife used to work at the Royal York in Toronto. Lots of celebrities. She's met tons of them. Only two were assholes. Justin Bieber's dad and Gene Simmons.
Well, Justin Bieber's dad is yeah, not a celebrity himself, but I guess yeah, when you're coasting off your child star fame, then
Only one to play the "Do you know who I am?"
wow. Wow.
Which I think anyone who says "Do you know who I am?" no matter the situation, you're a dick.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And you've heard of the infamous Terry Gross Fresh Air interview with Gene Simmons, right?
No.
Yeah. So are you familiar with Fresh Air and what it is? I mean,
No, I'm not.
so it's an American, it's National Public Radio, an American radio broadcast network. So Terry Gross is this legendary host who's been on the air for decades out of Philadelphia.
Mhm.
And she was interviewing Gene Simmons. And I think she'd asked him something about like, aren't you kind of a sexist? You brag about having bedded down all these women. And then he said something to the effect of, oh, I'm as much of a sexist as you are a boring librarian. And she said, you're a big jerk. Or she actually just broke all professionalism, and that was the end of the interview. And she's actually talked in subsequent interviews like that was the only guest that I wasn't able to finish the interview with.
I believe, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, again, we're talking about the same guy who came up with the idea to sell caskets of his.
Oh yeah. Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
I imagine they still do. Again, you and I we're fans of Kiss. My wife's watching this eventually. I think I can tell her this when we're talking. Don't bury me in a Kiss casket. Just don't. Please don't. I'm not that big a fan. And if you are that big a fan, what's the matter with you? Get out of the basement.
Yes. I'm not a fan of anyone enough to be buried in a casket with their image on it.
It is. So I guess this gets better because now it's Kiss performing. They're doing Shout It Out Loud. Which, I mean, again, Kiss, what really made them, because they had 3 albums that did reasonably well, and their 4th album was Kiss Alive.
Yes.
Which their live act, it is a different energy, a different vibe to it.
Yeah.
And it made them what they are. So
yes,
that's one thing that this movie did right. Because we did get, decent concert footage of them. Then we see Abner and Sam plot. Well, I'd say I wrote Abner and Sam plotting. Obviously, Sam's not plotting anything because he's catatonic.
Catatonic, yeah.
So Sam is instructed to take pics of the band so that they can get every angle so that he can, I guess, make these replicants. Look at me, Blade Runner. But androids.
Yeah.
Abner is obviously super talented because he did it within hours.
Yeah. And this was before 3D printing. So
yeah, I mean, this guy could have easily gotten another job somewhere else. He should have just took his box with pride. This is my work. That's what he should have done. He should just stolen all the animatronics.
Well, this is like pre-going postal, right? Remember all those workplace, like, some guy went crazy, and that was the whole premise of one of the premises of Office Space. The guy with the stapler who finally loses it.
When I was a little kid, I was afraid of those animatronics. I remember going to Disney
Yeah,
World as like 5 or we're on the same age, and just seeing the Hall of Presidents like Abraham Lincoln's gonna hurt
yeah.
you.
It's very creepy. There, I don't know if you had this in Canada, but there was a pizza chain for kids called Showbiz Pizza, and they had animatronic animals
We had
playing
Chuck E.
instruments.
Cheese.
Yeah, this was like I think a ripoff of Chuck E. Cheese.
Mhm.
So all the kids I knew were like scared of the Showbiz Pizza band. It was just very creepy.
Same thing. That stuff looked real to me as a little kid. So
Yeah.
I can just imagine all the little ones going to the Hall of Presidents now and seeing Trump.
Oh my God, scary enough in real life.
Well, you have Trump and then Biden who might sniff the little kid. But anyway, I'm equal opportunity in my
Yeah.
attacks. All right, where did we go here? Melissa sees Sam, and Sam just walks away because Sam doesn't recognize Melissa. Or was this a scene where Sam just went, "Oh, I know you," or I don't. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's like if you're such a genius, why wouldn't you at least give the android some capability of acting, like like the person would normally act, so people don't suspect, oh, something's up with this person. They're not acting like themselves.
Well, I mean, it's a guy. I mean, usually, sometimes we blow off women when we're done.
Like, yeah, that is true, but
But they were
seeing how his girlfriend was traipsing all around the park looking for him.
yes. Kiss, for whatever reason, they really care about this situation. They really care about Melissa,
Yeah.
and not in a carnal way.
Yeah, I couldn't figure that out. I couldn't figure out if she was supposed to be like an ultimate fan, or they're is just trying to show them as like true superheroes, like
That's
how
what I think.
Superman.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Because I mean, because again, Gene was a massive pig. So was Paul to a lesser degree. And then I was finding interviews with Ace, and just where he basically said that he had like 7 women in his trailer every day.
Yeah.
Living the rock and roll thing. Peter was snorting coke nonstop. Like they don't remember anything.
Yeah, I just don't know how that dynamic would work. How do you have a teetotaler around at least 2 other guys, admittedly, who are just snorting every substance that they could find? And I haven't heard Paul Stanley. Was Paul Stanley a substance user or not?
No, not at all. He's not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Gene and Paul were like the Boy Scouts, at least in the
Yeah.
drug part of the sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And the other 2 were like making up for them.
Well, I guess because they had a music bonded them until it didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's we all have every friend that we have in life, I guess, is because we have a similar interest.
Yeah. True.
So that sort of worked out for them until it didn't. Uh, let's see. Abner Sam. So Sam is thinking. So yeah, so they can make duplicates of the band. Well, again, Kiss. Well, I don't know why they care. Gene, yeah, and so this is where they're learning about all this when Gene says, "Did you notice too because they had superimposed whatever kind of audio thing in Gene's vocals? I couldn't understand half of what
Yeah.
he said."
Me neither. And I had trouble keeping up with the androids and the real Kiss. So
Hmm.
which one was doing the growling? Was that Gene or Gene's
Yep.
android?
Both.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, they had it speaking like he's not a normal human being. He has some echo effect on his voice.
Which that's all fine and good, but there was too much echo. So like half of his dialogue, I didn't know what he was saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
But this time he just said "Star Child," and that way we learn that Paul Stanley's got this ability. Who knew that with his eye, the one with the star, he could just sort of like zoom in. And then he learned that Melissa is having trouble trying to figure out what's going on with Sam. Uh-huh. So yeah, Paul's clairvoyant. He says, "You're looking for someone, but it's not Kiss." Sam was here. Like, how the hell does he even know what the goddamn name? Or did she say it? I don't know. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't remember her telling them her name.
Yeah. And then they just sort of, that's it. They don't care. Because they just walked away because I guess everything's going to be fine. Well, Abner's back working. And then the next thing we see is Gene, although it's maybe not really real Gene, barricade through a wall and beat up security guards. Easily. Okay, because I guess that's the thing with security guards, huh? It doesn't take much to be a security guard, does it?
Apparently not.
So they tell Calvin what happened. Calvin says, well, rock and rollers don't bathe. I don't know what that meant. They come up and meet up with Kiss. This is where it gets really interesting. The first time that they're all given dialogue. Because this is what I do on my day off when I'm in a rock band, I guess. I'm in my full gear with more gear.
Yeah.
With the silver cape on lifeguard. Lifeguard seats.
Just sitting around a pool.
They're not enjoying the pool. They're just looking at it.
Well, rock stars don't bathe or swim, I guess.
No, rock stars don't swim. I like that.
Yeah. And did you hear that, or did you read that Ace originally didn't have any lines because when the screenwriters were going around trying to get to know all the band members, he just kept going act. Mm-hmm. So they just wrote that in as his throwaway line, and he got upset that he didn't have any lines.
I did read that. Well, I mean, that sounds like something Ace would do. He would not. Ace is not the type of guy to take something seriously. Afterwards, have you ever seen? If you ever seen it's what's his name? Damn it! It was someone who became a late night host after. He had this comb over, and then he followed.
Not Johnny Carson. No. Not Rich Little. Comb over.
Yeah,
what decade?
No, it was the year after. So it was 79. Oh. It was 79, but then he later became a late night host and he followed Letterman because Letterman was such a fan of his. Later with
obviously not Craig Ferguson. Oh, it was, I know you're Craig Snyder, Tom
Snyder. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. Tom Snyder. Yeah. So they're on that. Ace is completely obliterated, and Tom is just now fascinated with Ace. And so the whole interview is just now geared towards Ace, who's just like doing his signature laughs, having a great time. Ace is the guy I want to party with, but not often.
Yeah.
I want to party.
You want to keep your brain cells.
And then have a nice conversation with Paul later. Maybe Gene for a half hour.
If you could tolerate him that long.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But Ace was always my favorite. So I can see Ace just sort of like when they're all meeting up with him just being a complete goof because he doesn't care. And then not realizing the consequences of him being a goof when he gets his dialogue, which is all,
Yeah.
But then it gets even funnier because then you saw Peter Criss's voice wasn't his at all.
Right. I heard that he claimed that Peter Criss said he claimed that he participated in post-production, but one of the articles I read said that he refused to participate in post-production, and that's why they hired a voice actor.
Which is probably, maybe it's both true. Maybe he participated and he was so obliterated they couldn't use any of it.
Yeah, that's true.
Peter's got that New York accent. And so the guy they got was Michael Bell, who was the voice of Zan from the Super Friends. And he had a bunch of work with Hanna-Barbera and voicing piles of stuff. He was in Transformers. He was Duke in G.I. Joe. So I remember when I finally watched that, it's like, I know this voice because I watched all of this stuff.
Yeah. So
it's whether he participated in the loop, maybe he remembers himself participating in the loop, but whatever he did was unusable.
Yeah.
And then he later said, like, if they're gonna at least dub me, at least come up with somebody close, because this wasn't close at all. But
did fans know what he sounded like? his speaking voice.
That's a good question, and because we're not talking about an era where you see them interviewed a lot on TV.
Right, right, and you couldn't just pull up YouTube and watch an interview with them.
Yeah.
And if they were being interviewed, I would assume it would have been Paul doing most of the talking.
Yeah, Paul or Gene, and then the other two just goofing off.
Yeah.
It kind of explains why they both sort of left. Well, Peter was fired, and Ace left on his own accord. But yeah, I mean, none of this makes sense. Gene shows up and just roars. None of these guys can act. I wrote down Paul is the worst. That's what I think. I think I sent you that message too. I think Paul Stanley is the worst actor of the four.
He's very wooden. He should have been an android. Well, he was an android, but only an android.
Oh my God. So then Paul uses his special powers, learns that Calvin's gonna like basically throw them under the bus after, which is kind of interesting later because why is he sort of a heroic figure at the end? But whatever.
Yeah.
Melissa shows up, I guess the hotel where they set him at, and the band shows them their talismans. Now, here's what I read: they apparently were in a comic book where before through Marvel, where they explained all this other stuff, and it was a huge seller.
Okay.
So I don't know if this is true or not. I read this, but I don't know if this is necessarily true. But it was their biggest sale to date, were Kiss as superheroes. So whether that's true or not, I mean, either way, it did well, and might have been sort of the premise for this idea that they all have talismans that gives them their powers, and without them, they're just ordinary men. Music critics, I'm sure, were just laughing at that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. Melissa had actually talked to Abner before, who gave her a pass, which was just a badge, so that way he could sort of watch everything that was going on. So that way Abner knows what's going on.
Right.
What do we got here? Then they later on play Beth. I wrote down, Gene looks like he's trying to take a shit while watching this. Okay, when you saw Kiss, was Peter still in it, or was it a fake one?
I think Peter was still in it when I saw them.
My favorite part. Okay, so I imagine then that was probably part of their encore, because okay, so you've got Peter coming out giving roses to the women in the front. It's like, God, I know what Peter actually looks like. There's no woman who's going to be going crazy for this guy.
Yeah.
But he apparently was married to some Playboy model at the time or something close to that. So who knows? Anyway, Sam. What's this? Oh, so yeah. While they're doing that, Sam is showed up, tries to open up the box of the talisman. He recoils because of the force field. Paul goes out of tune. Hey, something's wrong. Melissa then sees Sam and freaks out because she's in robot. Okay, that's where he went, huh? And then walks away.
Right.
She screams. Well, she's good at that. Kiss sees that the talismans have been moved and said, well, if they fall into the wrong hands, this could be bad. I don't know what that means. That someone could use it for evil, I guess.
I guess, yeah. If the talismans give them power, then I guess it could give anyone power.
Providing that they put on the right face paint.
Right. Well, they did have a lookalike.
Well, and here is a nice thing of plot jumping. Well, they deduce from what Melissa had told them that everything is from Abner. They figure this out immediately.
Right.
I mean, we've established that Paul's a clairvoyant and intelligent. So there we go. Let's run with that. So they decide that they're going to go into the park and they're going to figure this out for themselves. And then porn music plays. I don't know what else to call it. Like,
yeah.
Or the same kind of like B-roll music that they used to use for any Hanna-Barbera stuff. because that's what
Yes.
this was.
Yes.
They're around a roller coaster with, I don't know what they were, werewolves in silver suits,
I thought they were supposed to be monkeys.
maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess from their lines they said, yeah, monkeys in silver suits. Okay.
Yeah. Very strange. They didn't look like any real animal.
No, well, yeah, there weren't an animal that, yeah, that I've ever seen. They were dressed. Either way, there was a lot of them, and they attacked Kiss. Sometimes jumping off the roller coaster, leaving them, giving them chances for one-liners. None of which were good.
No.
None of this was good. The stunt fighting was bad. Anytime it was actually Kiss, it was terrible. Anytime it was fake Kiss, it was terrible.
Yes.
Ace is now apparently could do a million backflips.
Yeah. Yeah. And I did read an interview where he said his body double was black. His stunt double was black.
Which
And
we'll get to.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God, if you're gonna have a stunt double, like maybe not a face shot.
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyways, they beat up that. Gene holds up a severed head of one of the monkey / werewolf things. Devereaux. Because, yeah, of course. They go into an amphitheater, and it's a bunch of Asian animatronics.
Yeah, I did notice that with the karate and
Why not?
martial arts, whatever they were doing. Yeah.
Why not? Because I mean, if you're Asian in the 70s, you knew karate.
Or I think they were just kind of capitalizing on the interest in, martial arts was big back then.
True. So Gene, we see a fight between Gene and a karate man. I wrote down Gene's defense was like a Star Wars action figure, not a G.I. Joe action figure that could move an elbow, which is like,
yeah.
Good thing the legs were kicking right there each time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Ace flips again, more bad stunt fighting. And then we learned Ace has a special ability. By just doing this, for those listening, I'm moving my thumb, and then they teleport other places. Because that's what spacemen do?
Yeah, and why wait? Why wait until the fight goes that far to teleport them?
Well, they at that point, they were surrounded. There was too many of them. So that's what they did.
Okay.
Actually, I noticed Peter didn't have any special skills. Did he?
Right. Maybe they ended up on the cutting room floor.
Yeah, that's possible. What would that have been?
Yeah.
That he can move super fast like a cat? I don't know.
Probably.
Well, Abner gives Sam a ray gun to use on the talisman, and we see Kiss, who was concerned. They happen to be on a merry-go-round that now moves. They now enter the chamber of thrills. After 2 minutes of doing nothing, just nothing, looking at these animatronics or these mime artists, this is the second week in a row we'll talk about Shields and Yarnell. Where were they?
Exactly.
They could have been used for this.
Yes.
They get attacked by every horror movie creature, put into a corner, and then an something comes from the top, from the ceiling, sucks them up.
Mm-hmm.
Of course it does. While this is sort of happening, because they've got the box of the talisman. What's his name? Devereaux's using his ray gun to sort of like limit their powers.
Yeah.
Because that's all he has to do, just sort of like do that with this bad wavy thing. Couldn't they have just done something straight?
Right. Yeah. Why not like a Star Wars laser beam?
Ace can't use his, Ace can't use his power so much for my solo. I like that line. That's the only line I liked. And well, so what's gonna happen? We've got another Kiss concert. Oh no. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Melissa tries to get backstage. Calvin wonders where Kiss is. Well, didn't you even try to look? You put them in, you house them.
Yeah.
You're probably the one who gave them whatever hotel or whatever. You couldn't have just gone there like, hey, are you there?
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't do that? No? Okay. Fine. Real Kiss is behind a lightsaber jail, is what I wrote.
Yeah, that was weird.
I mean, if this guy can do all this other stuff, I mean, like, why is he wasting his time at a theme park? This guy should have been working for NASA.
Yeah.
All right, then fake Kiss walks by. And Abner tells him of the plan. He says it's going to be Armageddon. And then there's a joke I didn't quite get. I had to look it up. Peter says, Armageddon's a lame group. Peter, and then Paul laughs like this was the funniest thing that he ever heard in his life. I thought they were referring to Prism, who had a band or an album called Armageddon, but Armageddon was this, they had one album in the mid 70s. I guess it's in reference to that. I don't remember this group at all.
Okay. Very insider.
So clearly this was something where they could just sort of like shit on another band that nobody, well,
right.
I mean, I guess maybe it meant something to the people in the 70s. Didn't mean anything to me. I mean, I had to look up who they were. But even just that, the fact that Paul had to make sure that he was laughing uncontrollably. All right.
Yeah.
Well, Kiss does show up, well, fake Kiss, out of a Winnebago. What?
Yeah.
All right. So then they come out like in their zombie walk. Melissa realizes immediately this is not the real Kiss. Do something. Goes to the head security guard. Oh my God, he's a zombie too. So they go on to play Hotter Than Hell, but they changed the words to Rip and Destroy.
Right. I noticed that.
The Kiss fans boo temporarily. Kiss, the real Kiss, meanwhile, are watching this because Abner's an idiot and shows them the whole video.
Yeah.
Leaves everything. Now the fans are chanting Rip and Destroy. Apparently one song is all it takes to change everyone to start raving lunatics. He leaves the box there, and with their mind, a little bit of Star Wars Force. All four of them. This box.
Yeah.
I don't even know I thought it was a force field. How did the box get through the force field?
Yeah. I didn't get that part either. Didn't make any sense at all.
It's a special box.
Yeah.
So it gets through, and that's all they need. We don't even see them escape.
Right.
Calvin's panicking. Kiss emerges from the sky again. Real Kiss fights fake Kiss. We see Black Ace Frehley.
And that was a big thing in the 70s, like having a stunt double that looked nothing like the actor, but come on.
My favorite fake stunt double of all time was watching episodes of The Fall Guy.
Oh, yeah.
A show about a stuntman, and then Lee Majors clearly wasn't Lee Majors doing fistfights.
Yeah, yeah.
We have to look at that one. Actually, I've got a great one. I'll tell you after that. I gotta find it. That I think will be good if I can find it. Anyway, they Real Kiss beats up fake Kiss, blows them up, or I don't know what the hell happens. Then they just use their magic to have their instruments appear magically in their hand. Peter magically just goes back behind the drums, and then they play rock and roll all night. Okay. Everything's fine, but wait a minute, we still have Sam the zombie. So we go back to the lair, and then, what's her name? Crap.
Melissa.
Thank you. Melissa's yelling at Devereaux. Give him back to me, give him back to me. Blah, 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 blah. Well, Kiss is just around there. And then Calvin says, well, it's no use. Paul Stanley in this, because he's a smart one of the group, takes off that shoulder thing, that shoulder, what do you call
Yeah,
it?
little bug thing.
Sam's back to normal. They spin around Abner, who's now 80 years old and catatonic or dead. Huh?
Yeah, it's like he was supposed to be like, that was supposed to be the reveal that he's the actual phantom of the park, which makes no sense. I mean, so a phantom is like an old man or takes the form of an old man, a catatonic old man at that.
I just thought he went insane. I mean, I have no idea what the hell what that even meant. Uh, I mean, they pretend that he's alive. He can't hear you, Melissa. And then with the
Yeah.
corniest line, the corniest of all the corny lines from Calvin, he created Kiss to destroy Kiss, and he lost. And God of Thunder plays this out.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So bad that when it was filmed, that when they saw the screening, Gene apparently tucked his head like he couldn't watch it.
Okay.
They were embarrassed. They said they came off like buffoons. They didn't really come off like buffoons so much as the whole thing was completely ridiculous. The special effects that they were probably promised, like, no, we're going to put it in post later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Didn't happen.
Right.
It looked awful. None of those guys knew what the script was supposed to look like. So,
Yeah.
which then leads us to this. The question I've asked you each time,
Mm-hmm.
whose fault was this?
Yeah, I heard that they were like being shown the script like scene by scene because it was so thrown together that they didn't even have a complete script, and it was like being rewritten as they were filming. So I would have to say, Kiss, it's their fault. Um, I mean, first of all, I like like I said, you must have to have a huge ego to be a rock star because
Yep.
why would you think it's basically like a Kiss comic book come to life? Why would you think this is going to be anything other than like cheap, dumb fun? So I can't understand why they thought this was going to turn out to be great to begin with. It was just a cash grab.
Yeah.
They were already huge. They didn't need it. So yeah, I say it's their fault for agreeing to do it.
Okay. I'll sort of give them a bit of a pass on their naivete at this stage in their
Okay.
life. Because if you're pitched again, Star Wars meets Hard Day's Night, and you're this big, I can see that sort of going through it because like almost every musician back then, not so much now. I mean, I just read Rihanna became a billionaire. I don't see
Yeah, I saw
Rihanna thinking that. Yeah, so I don't see Rihanna saying, you know what, I got to be in the movies.
Yeah. Although she
So
was in Battleship.
then, okay, that's true. But she hasn't since,
Yeah.
or has she? No,
Not that I know of.
she was in a TV show. Crap. It was the TV show adaptation of Psycho.
Oh, okay.
Of Bates Motel. So she had a couple of, and she can't act worth shit either. But
She's a billionaire.
but she's also Rihanna, and so like the reviews on her, oh, she's so good. Like, no, she wasn't. But she's Rihanna. I'm
Yeah.
also living in a country where it's Barbados. It's Rihanna. Everyone loves Rihanna. You come out of
I'd
the
imagine.
airport, there's a picture of Rihanna. If you ever make it down here and I'm still here, I'll take you to Rihanna Drive.
Cool. National heroine, right?
Yeah, you know what? Good on her. Good on her. But back then, that was sort of the natural transition.
Mm-hmm.
It tried, it failed. The band itself, pretty much, even though they remained intact, still, I guess technically to this day, although, are they done? I don't know. But Gene and Paul never left. Peter in the next album, the Dynasty album, didn't even play on it.
Oh, wow.
Or no, sorry, he played 2 songs, didn't play on the Unmasked, and was kicked out after. Ace left 3 albums later, and then we all know about the reunion stuff after, but they tried something, it failed. I don't know that I can blame them completely because they wouldn't have known any better. None of them would. They're being sold this. So I blame the production company. Apparently, the director was fired early in. So, they deliberately put out a piece of shit, rushed it for Halloween. Because that's the other thing I forgot to mention. Because we're talking October 28th, it's Kiss, it's Halloween. I mean, one thing, if we ever go back to variety shows, there's the Paul Lynde Halloween special.
Oh my God.
Which
I
Kiss was
cannot
on.
even imagine.
Which Kiss was on.
Wow.
I guess maybe I'm thinking of Paul Lynde a lot because I'm binging American Dad, which Roger the Alien is apparently based on.
Oh,
Paul
okay.
Lynde.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's from Ohio, my home state.
Paul Lynde?
Yeah.
Okay. I never even knew where he was from. Paul Lynde's an interesting thing. We could do a deep dive on him. I'm sure. Like one of those many people who were gay and that the people in the 70s and 80s had no idea, even though it was so clear.
Yeah, it was sort of like an open secret, but I think there was so much naivete about sexuality back then. It wasn't talked about, that it was sort of like, like the Liberace thing. Like,
Sure.
you look back and it's like, who couldn't tell Liberace was gay? But yeah.
Village People. When I was a kid, I thought the most look at the motorcycle guy. He's clearly a man. He's the manliest man I've ever seen.
But one of them was married to a Felicia Rashad, so not all of them were gay in real life.
Right. But I mean, like, apparently the whole Village People thing was stereotypes of gay culture.
Gay culture.
Which most people in the 70s and 80s, early 80s, had no idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's where we are. So I know. Obviously, we give this a thumbs down. Any final thoughts on Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park?
Yeah, I just don't. So I read that this got huge ratings. So I don't really know why Kiss had the reaction that they did to it. Like I read that like for years afterward, like their employees weren't allowed to mention this to them. I don't know why they just didn't sort of lean into it and take it, because I just thought Kiss, as you were saying, was part of their appeal was they just didn't take themselves too seriously. They knew they were kind of like a kitschy rock group, but apparently they took themselves very seriously. And
I think two of them
so
did.
I just don't know why they thought this movie was going to turn out to be a masterpiece or something that they could be proud of.
Well, I think two of them did because the albums they did after, so it was Dynasty, Unmasked, and then The Elder, which is a weird album because that was an album they tried to make for the critics. So it's in the back of their mind where they're trying to make that segment appreciate them, and they were never going to. And sometimes that's fine, and there's certain groups that will just never get critical respect, and there will always be guilty pleasures. Kiss will always be, I want to call them a guilty pleasure of mine only because, again, I consider myself a music snob.
Yeah.
But, and I talk to a lot of other music snobs in what I do. And so my fandom of Kiss befuddles them. They don't get it. That's who they are to me. And this just this fun group that I don't have to think about. I can just sort of like think about, all right, we're gonna have fun. We're gonna try to get laid, and like I'm the man. Yeah. That's okay. Like there's nothing wrong with a bit of, I don't want to say toxic masculinity, but masculinity. That's all right.
And again, it's just like maybe that's why MTV was invented, because networks just didn't know what to do with like pop and rock stars unless it was someone like Cher who could kind of sing and dance, and do kind of like that sort of old-fashioned style of variety show. But I mean, why not just do a Kiss concert special and have this concept be just like a little animated short, going to commercial break or something? Instead, they try to do an entire movie on this premise.
And that's their ego stalking. So, when you bring that up, maybe that is because Kiss signed off on it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess for me, I'm going to say half Kiss, half Hanna-Barbera, because this was just a bad. This was great for Saturday morning.
Yeah.
But this wasn't Saturday morning. This was Saturday night. And it was
Right.
never aired again. And with
Right.
that, I guess we close off episode 3 of how the hell did this shit get on national TV? Oh, no, this crap was on national television. I forget the names of my shows sometimes. Chris, can I get you for episode 4?
Absolutely.
All right.
I look forward to whatever crap you come up with.
Careful. Careful. I've got one I'm going to give you right after this. All right. With
Uh-oh.
that, stay safe, everybody. And there'll be a lot more stuff coming from mountainhallofFame.com.